Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a football Sunday. I don't like that shit-eating grin that my partner here, Aaron Barrison's got on his face for some reason. But I'm your host, Justin Everett, along with your host, Aaron Barrison. Welcome in on a Sunday. We're going to get into a bunch of picks here. We're going to talk about this shitstorm dumpster fire of an Eagles team. How do you feel this weekend, buddy?
You know, you always tell me I never smile. I'm in a good mood today, and the first thing you do is, you trash it. Now I gotta, frown the rest of the time.
Aaron, if I can't spend my time shitting on you, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I know. I'm feeling good about the picks today. I'm feeling the same about the Eagles as I have been, but we got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
Yeah, let's bring Jeff on in. Come on in here, Jeff. Let's get our picks rolling. Let's see how our wonderful producer's doing. How are you today, Jeff?
I'm doing well, guys. Thanks. I'm over the embarrassment of last week for myself. I made some very outlandish suggestions. I hope you did not take my advice because you lost money.
We all did pretty bad last week. I mean, Aaron is the king at 500, which is bad, but
which is a loss. If you
I'm also the king of missing massive parlays by one game.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point. I mean, Vegas is supposed to win.
I know.
You know, it's funny because my buddy Danny, a quick story. He lives right near the Delaware Casino, right on the border. Yeah, Delaware Park, and he'll go there and he'll put like $50 on like a 13-team parlay every week. And like a couple of years ago, he missed it by one game. One game and
parlays.
And it was
he's never gonna get that.
And it was the Monday night game, so he won every single game on Sunday and lost the Monday night game.
Oh,
and then, so I always like to remind him. I was like, dude, if you just would have bet, well, that was before like FanDuel and everything, it was. I always like to remind him, like, if you would have just kept it to the Sunday games, you would have won like $60,000.
Nuts, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy.
All right. You guys ready for the first pick?
Yeah, let's start our 14-game parlay this week.
All right. Pats, Chargers.
All right. I'm glad we started on this one. Aaron, I almost picked the Patriots in this game. I almost picked this as the upset of the week, but I like another game a little bit more than this one. Plus, I couldn't follow up your upset of the week with a 1.5-point dog Patriots with a 1.5-point dog Patriots. I couldn't ride your coattails. I don't like you that much. All right. I think we haven't seen as much as this Chargers team has to give. And I look at what challenges come out to make you play your top football. And playing Bill Belichick is probably the top of that mountain. Maybe Andy Reid and the Chiefs, because not only do they have a really good coach, they've also got really good players. But Bill Belichick's the big one. I went back and watched a shitload of Justin Herbert tape. I don't think this defense can stop him as long as his players execute. So I will openly admit that this is a coin flip game. It's a 1.5 line for a reason. I think that this should be a pick 'em. I don't even know that there should be a line. Whoever wins this game is not going to win large. I'm going to lay the 1.5, and I'm going to hope with all of my heart that the Chargers can win by field goal. I think that's this game. I think whoever wins this game wins by field goal. I'm going to take the young kid in Justin Herbert because I like him better than Cam Newton. And I'm going to go over, bro. I think we might see something today. I'm going to go over.
Well, I'm going to start by going under on this game. I think so. Bill Belichick in his career, I believe I saw a stat is 20-5 against rookie quarterbacks. Justin Herbert isn't your average rookie quarterback. Very explosive playmaker. They got some good pieces on the offensive side. The talent disparity is actually very large against the Patriots with whoever they play. The Chargers do have a lot of talent. They just don't have a very good coach. The Patriots do have a very good coach. So the Chargers got the talent. The Patriots got the coach. If I get Bill Belichick with an evenly matched team and he's getting the points, I have to go with that. I think Herbert's going to have a lot of trouble today. Belichick just does a great job taking away what the rookie likes to do specifically best. Has a very good record against rookies. I like them to win this game outright, so I am going to take the points, and Patriots win this game.
It's sound logic, bro. I don't disagree with anything that you said. This was a true pick'em game to me.
It's a coin toss, yeah.
Next up, Broncos Chiefs, and Justin went against his own rule.
I changed. I don't like changing, but I changed.
Oh, you did? I thought you said change it to the Chiefs. Okay.
Oh, no, I did. I am the Chiefs. I'm the Chiefs minus 14.
Okay. So,
Aaron, go ahead so I can talk to you about what happened to me in this game.
yeah, so the last time these two teams played, Kansas City beat them, but I think it was by 25 or 30 points. They played without their quarterback last week. Their quarterbacks are coming back this week. They have to be somewhat motivated with how badly they let their teams down. Obviously, I don't think the Broncos are going to win this game, but I'll take the 14 points. I feel like even if they're down late in garbage time, let's say they're down 17-21, KC just kind of takes their foot off the gas. It's a division game. Division games never really go the way we expect them to go. And I like the Broncos literally just because they are, again, getting 14 points. Like Drew Lock, if he's starting, because they flip-flop their quarterbacks all the time, I'm going to assume Drew Lock's starting. Like him to have a decent game against Kansas City, not a bad game.
Everything that you just said was my logic when I put this pick out to Jeff, which was Denver plus 14. I changed it at 9 o'clock this morning. Okay. Here's why I changed it. I had the exact same thought in mind. Drew Lock is coming back. They just got embarrassed because the NFL made them play with no quarterback. They're going to show up, right?
Yeah.
The Chiefs have not beaten a team by a ton yet. Like, they haven't really crushed.
They did them.
Yeah, but again, it's not a – I look at the Chiefs beating a bad team. I'm looking for a 25 or 30-point victory. And I haven't seen one. I haven't seen many. And this Chiefs team is so good, there's no reason why we haven't. The fact that they lost to the Raiders by 8 and then won by 8, mind-blowing. Like, there's no reason why they didn't blow that team out one of those two times.
Mm-hmm.
I look at this game in Kansas City with them now being compared up to the 11-0 Pittsburgh Steelers. It's now all of the national pundits, all the national media, while we all understand that Pittsburgh's 11-0 is a little soft because of their competition, they are 11-0. These are the two juggernauts. This to me is a game where Andy Reid's going to be able to come out and beat the Denver Broncos by 30 and have a 35-3, a 42-17, just a mud stomping. I didn't feel this way until this morning. I don't know why. This was a gut that came over me where I said I got to change this pick. I love your logic. It was my pick until this morning. So maybe it was something whispered in my ear that we had to be different. Who knows what it was?
I like that we're disagreeing on the first two.
But I like everything about your argument for picking Denver with those 14 is exactly how I thought going into this game up until this morning. I think that this is a game where Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes gets to come out and stomp down any of the Pittsburgh could beat us mentality. Because if you handle a team by 30, that's something Pittsburgh's only done once too, to a much worse team than Denver. So I like Kansas City. I will say right now, I'm probably wrong. This is just a gut, and I think they'll cover. 14's a lot to a team coming back. I'm going in the over, though. I think Denver scores points today.
Justin admits he's wrong before the game is even played. You heard it here first.
See? You ain't making no compilations about me this week, hey, Ron.
I'm going to cover both sides.
Logical doesn't sell, guys. Come on. When will you guys learn?
All right, so there's a reason. Now, hold on. I'm very interested to see what Aaron's reasoning is behind this, because mine, I think, is strong. Pittsburgh has not played very good teams, and without a question in my mind, the Washington football team is the best team in the NFC East. Hands down, no competition. They have the best coach. They have the best defense. They have the best motivation to their young players. I do not believe for a moment that Washington will be close to winning this game. They will be down from the start, and they will stay down. However, Pittsburgh has shown in trash time they give up points. And there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to go into the second half of this game with Pittsburgh up 13 or 17, and Washington is going to be able to take a little bit of advantage. I think this is a 3 to 5 point victory. I cannot, when you give me an offense that is overachieving against a defense that is overachieving, somebody is going to falter. And it's a lot easier for Ben Roethlisberger to look like he's 38 years old than it is for the entirety of the Washington football team to crumble. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that this game stays close at the end. I think it's a 3 to 5 point victory for the Steelers. They're not going to lose outright. This game is definitely going to be in the over. 43.5 is stupid low in my opinion. Washington +7 because they're probably one of the two best teams that Pittsburgh has played this season.
I think people are underrating how improved Washington has been with Alex Smith at quarterback.
Absolutely.
I also, the guy was a couple years removed from playing football, but I think he's still completing around 68% of his passes, staying in the pocket. Not to mention the one thing Washington obviously does really well is rush the passer. They have an elite, and it pains me to say, they are one of the elite pass rushing defenses in the league. And Pittsburgh is not very good at running the football. They haven't shown us all year that they can break off long runs. James Conner hasn't really broken anything. I think the yards per carry is pretty low. I don't see them just being able to flip a switch and all of a sudden starting to be able to run the football. So Ben Roethlisberger is going to have to win this game. That D-line can go off a little bit on that offensive line. The thing that worries me a little bit, and I'm staying with the Washington pick, the over-under is 43.5, and I'm getting 7. And again, with Alex Smith, there's just a lot of motivation there. I don't think Pittsburgh's really going to be able to put up a lot of points in this game. Sloppy game for Pittsburgh last week too, by the way. They played a backup quarterbacks, backup running backs, barely won the football game. And Washington right now is like, hey, we're in control of this division right now. We're the best team. Daniel Jones has been injured. The Eagles are a dumpster fire. The Cowboys aren't going to make the playoffs. Every other team in the NFC has lost to these Steelers by 10 points or more. But I just feel like this team is easily the best team in the league or in the division, and they can cover this line. And I'm not going to say they're going to win this game. The matchup for Pittsburgh is not a good matchup. I will say
I
that.
agree, but we both agree there's no way Washington wins this game.
I'm not going to say there's no way Washington's playing good football right now, and they're starting to really buy into what Ron Rivera is doing, and Alex Smith is showing them that he can lead them to some points and some wins.
But this is not your upset.
No, this is not.
All right. Okay. We can move on now. I got a little nervous with how you were talking. I thought Jeff's head was going to blow fucking off his shoulders.
No, I don't like Washington that much. They're the best team in the NFC East.
Facts. Agree.
No, I always have to chime in on Washington. I was watching the Steelers game on a Wednesday, which was odd enough. But just for the record, Ben Roethlisberger gets rid of the ball faster than any quarterback in the NFL. The pass rush won't get there. You can assume, even though it was a win in the win column, it's a loss. They look horrible.
The thing for me is Ron Rivera is a good defensive coach, and he's got good guys. So he's aware that Ben Roethlisberger is going to want to get rid of the ball early, and he's going to make the adjustments.
Here's the big deal, bro. Here's the big difference between what Washington's going to throw versus what Baltimore threw. Washington has 3 guys on that defensive line that are 6'5" or bigger. So if you can't get home, Ron Rivera is a smart enough coach to teach these kids to put your hands up and jump. That's it. Oh, you don't have to sack Ben Roethlisberger to be successful today. All you have to do is stop him from completing 15-yard passes to Chase Claypool so he outruns your corners. That's all you have to stop. So, and again, you've got 7 points to cover. This isn't 3.5. You have 7 points to cover.
On a 43-point line.
Right. So, Vegas is telling me that this is a 21-17 game by themselves. Mm-hmm. So I should be able to take these points and be comfortable. I don't disagree with what Jeff's saying. Jeff, you're right. Pittsburgh is a much better team. Ben Roethlisberger is an elite first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's 37 years old or 38 years old. Chase Young needs to hit him once at full force for Ben Roethlisberger to realize, fuck, I might get it out fast, but it ain't that fast. That's all that needs to happen.
He also was limited in practice this week because of an apparent knee injury. So whatever that means. But I will say this: Alex Smith is who he always has been. He looks off his first read and dumps off to his running backs, and that's exactly what Scott Turner wants to do.
Don't turn the ball over. You got a shot.
That's it. All right. Bills, 49ers.
Wow.
So the 49ers are actually playing much better football recently. It feels like their defense is coming together.
They're getting healthy, bro.
Yeah, they're getting healthy. The Bills, to me, this is like one of those games where like you have to go out there and win decisively and kind of see if you could take control of the division. Miami's right on their tail. 46.5 points. This is a toss-up game. I'm taking the team that has the better quarterback. If I have a toss-up game, really the talent level is different because the Bills have all the talent on the offensive side of the football. 49ers have a lot of talent on the defensive side of the football, but they also have a great offensive-minded coach. I just like the Bills in this situation with the better quarterback, a team that's proven all year that they can win close games, and then they want to take control of this division. I'm taking the Bills, and I'm going to take the over on this.
I'm 100% with you on the over. I agree with a lot of what you said. San Francisco's defense is getting healthy, and they are impressive. But I look at Josh Allen versus Jimmy Garoppolo. I look at Stephon Diggs versus Brandon Ayuk. I look at the skill positions. I look at the offensive line. And again, I think a big part of this narrative is the Bills know that in this last run of 5 games, they need 3 of these 5 to know that they keep Miami away from them.
Yeah.
Miami has had a couple of duds recently. But it doesn't mean that they're not still just as good of a team. They've got Tua comes in, has the hype, has a bad game. Fitz comes back, wins a big one. What are they going to do at quarterback once Tua is healthy again? There's enough controversy in Miami for Buffalo to be able to take advantage right now. And for me, this is game 1. If you can stand up to San Francisco's defense and have 30 points on them, this is the game, man. This is your entire playoff run.
Miami's playing the Bengals today, obviously without Joe Burrow.
Which is a run over. It's a run over.
They should destroy
If Miami doesn't win that game by at least 10, there's a problem there.
Big letdown, yeah.
So I don't disagree. I think this is a 31-24 Buffalo win handedly. Maybe a 34-27. But I agree with the over. It's definitely going to go over. I think as San Francisco's getting healthy, you're starting to see their offensive-minded coach getting a little bit more aggressive, showing a little bit more, trying a little bit more, and Buffalo's going to have to do whatever it takes to keep up and beat this team. And again, it really comes down to me. It comes down to Josh Allen versus whoever takes the snaps for San Francisco.
Yeah, I want Buffalo to show me something today, man. The 49ers they're not as bad as their record.
Bro, this is it. This is the game that starts their playoff push. This is their first playoff game of 2020. So I'm in the same camp. Give me the point. I think that they win outright. I don't think that it's going to be close. I think that Buffalo wins by somewhere between 5 and 7 points in the over.
Do we know if it's Mullins or Garoppolo today?
Mullins today.
I'm with you. This is a no-brainer to me. I don't even know. I don't even know why Buffalo's getting a point. I mean, San Francisco's good, but they're playing up to their competition, which is great, but they can't. It's not sustainable.
If Nick Mullins is your starting quarterback, how is this a 1-point spread? That's what I need to know.
He's averaging more yards per game than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but you can't look at – dude, listen, PFF is good for shit like we do where we can get some hot take fucking material. You don't make lines because of fucking completion percentage or yards per game. Watch the game. Nick Mullins does not play the position like Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jimmy Garoppolo is not even that good. So I don't understand how you get a plus. Well, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
It was this odds makers. It's his first day.
Probably.
Just getting started.
Don't be so confident about this game.
I'm pretty confident.
All right. Next up, Saints Falcons.
Oh my God. I knew when I was making this pick. I knew, and you know me, bud. You know I looked at Atlanta real fucking hard.
You love Atlanta. You love them.
I was impressed with Taysom Hill. I mean, it comes down to this. It comes down to this for me, bro. It comes down to this for me, bro. I watched the New Orleans Saints be able to play competitive football without Drew Brees for the first time in the last 10 years, and Atlanta just went off. They had a tremendous game. What have I seen? How many times have I picked Atlanta back-to-back weeks? And one week I look like a fucking genius, and the next week they lose by 15. I don't think that this is close. I really don't. I know that Matt Ryan's a better quarterback. I know that without Drew Brees, Michael Thomas looks worse. I get all the logic and reason. The Saints defy logic and reason, bro. Sean Payton, what he has with that team is unbelievable. I mean, again, Taysom Hill looks like I'm going to use the word quality and I'm going to stretch it because it's strong. But Taysom Hill looks like a quality quarterback under that coaching staff. He looks like he can get by with the players that they have. So to me, and I'll be real with you, bro, this is a 10-point game for the Saints. This is 34-24, and the Saints are never in doubt because this is a division game. Atlanta is not as good as the 41-point wins that they get sometimes. I've picked them all year, bro. If there's a fucking expert on the Atlanta letdown, it's probably me. This one, I looked so hard at this game and wanted to take Atlanta because I was getting points. I can't do it. I can't see a part of that team, an interim head coach, 112-year-old Matt Ryan.
He's going to be the head coach.
112-year-old Matt Ryan. Julio Jones is slowing down. The defense is not nearly as good as it once was. This, to me, is an easy Saints win. I think the Saints win by 10.
All right, so there's a lot of things wrong with what you just said, but let's start with the fact that
don't hold back.
This is a division game, and the Saints already won the first one at home, and it was just a couple weeks ago. So this is the second time. Hold on, it was 24. It was 24-9. This is the second time in 3 weeks that this team is going to be able to see Taysom Hill come out. Atlanta is 4-2 since Raheem Morris has taken over the job. They obviously are playing a lot harder and a lot better with him than they were Dan Quinn. They actually should be 5-1. They blew one of those leads. Taysom Hill has not impressed me at all. It doesn't look like a good thrower of the quarterback, does his little, dink and dime stuff, and they try to put packages together for him to run. I like these teams to split the season series. Atlanta's at home. They're playing better under Morris. Taysom Hill should be starting over Winston. This is the upset of the week. The Falcons are going to win this game outright. They are going to win in the over. And actually, I think they win by 7 to 10 points. I think Raheem Morris is going to put together an excellent game plan for this team. And Taysom Hill is not going to be able to move the football because guess what? He's not a very good quarterback. He can't throw. They're going to be running wildcat all game. You're laughing, but upset of the week almost every week when I call it has been right.
Wait a minute. Of all the shit I've had to go through for the last 12 fucking weeks about picking Atlanta every time I have, you think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to beat the New Orleans Saints by 7 to 10 points?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't think the Saints do. The Saints aren't impressive to me at all with Taysom Hill back there.
How about Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas and that defense that they have?
Got to get them the football, bud. If they know you're running the football, what are you going to do?
Stop. Atlanta's a bad team, bro. Period. Hard stop. Atlanta's a bad team.
4-2 under. 4-2 under.
Next game. I can't. Oh,
how can you say they're a bad team when they switch coach and they're winning 75% of their games?
How many teams does that happen to, bro? Where a coaching change happens and they all of a sudden look good. Atlanta,
but this guy's been a head coach before. You remember Tampa Bay? He was in Tampa Bay.
Atlanta is overachieving. Atlanta has to.
I know. And the Saints are about to underachieve.
Atlanta has to play up. New Orleans has to play down. They could play worse than they are and still win this game. You have to mind. Next game.
All right. Make up on the Browns here. Talk about how much you guys love the Browns. Hug.
Right. This was hard. This was the hard game to pick for me. Justin's, he's phenomenal at everything he does.
No, this was Jesus spoke to me. I'll tell you about it when you're done, but this was
I can't wait.
Instantly.
So these are both running football teams. So I like this game in the under. I think both these teams are going to try to run the football down each other's throats, and both of their run defenses aren't very good. Tennessee's had problems all around on defense this year. The Browns have been a little better in the passing game. Denzel Ward is out. So A.J. Brown could have a chance to go off this game. He's usually the guy that would match up Brown versus Ward. I just think that in order to beat the Tennessee Titans, and by the way, both of these coaches with the talent that they have on their team have done an excellent job. Stefanski's done a really good job this year because the Browns have had the same talent for years, and this year all of a sudden they're making a major playoff push. Myles Garrett is back. I like him to, obviously be a disruptor this game. Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, like the under. Both these teams running the football. I think they're evenly matched talent-wise and somewhat evenly matched coaching-wise, even though Vrabel, I think, obviously is the better coach. Stefanski's proving himself in the league right now. Don't love Baker Mayfield, but if you're giving me 6.5 points against, with two evenly matched teams, I got to take almost a full touchdown.
So you're picking the Browns to cover?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm picking the Browns as the upset of the week to win outright.
Okay.
Here's why, right? So if I say to you that Baker Mayfield and Ryan Tannehill are about the same level, do you agree or disagree?
No, I don't.
You don't think so?
No.
What does Ryan Tannehill do better than Baker Mayfield?
Dictates the pocket better, gets out of the pocket, scrambles, and also is a little bit more accurate.
You think Ryan Tannehill is a better scrambler than Baker Mayfield?
Yes.
Well, maybe I'll talk to Jeff for the rest of my point because that's fucking asinine. Baker Mayfield's a mobile quarterback. How are you going to give me Ryan Tannehill?
Baker Mayfield is not as mobile as Tannehill.
Anyway,
you're out of your. Have you watched them this year?
I have two he plays to the offense that's set in front of him, right? So if I have two quarterbacks that are within the same level,
you watched Baker last week.
When we have two quarterbacks that are within the same levels of each other, and now I look at the run game, right? There's no running back in football that even sniffs Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the best. There's no competition there.
Dalvin Cook
However, close, but not the same.
Uh-huh.
However, I have two running backs in Cleveland that are both very, very good. I don't have the greatest, but I've got two of the second level. I think position by position on the offensive side of the football, Cleveland has more options. I don't necessarily agree with your under. I do agree with the run. I think the run is going to be attempted on both sides, but I don't know that it's effective for both sides. Here is why I think Cleveland wins outright. If I asked you which defense has the best chance at slowing down the elite run game of the other side, what is your answer?
It's probably, it's hard to slow down Derrick Henry, but it's Cleveland.
Without a doubt, we both agree. Derrick Henry and slow down usually doesn't go in the same sentence, but if there were one, it's Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To me, this is going to be which team deflates the other defense fastest. And I believe that is going to be the two-headed monster plus Baker Mayfield not turning the ball over. So all Baker has to do in this game, just like Ryan Tannehill has to do in every game he suits up for the Tennessee Titans, don't turn the ball over. That's it. So I think that based on defense alone, Cleveland has a very good chance at this game. You know that I'm high on Tennessee. I think both of us are. When a couple of weeks ago, we tried to pick our Midland teams that could make some noise. Tennessee was at the top of my list.
Sure.
I don't think that this is a crushing upset. I don't think that 6.5 is a fair line. I think these teams are much more fairly matched than what this line shows. I think this should be a 3.5 point line. But Tennessee at home, whatever they want to give them. In my opinion, I've got two guys at a skill position that are better than just the one on the other side. It's easier for my defense to hone in on one player versus two, and Baker gives me a better chance if I need quarterback play than Ryan Tannehill. That's just how this seems to me. Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with the over. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Cleveland wins this game outright by a touchdown. It's going to be a 7-point game, and it's going to go a point or two under because I think one of these defenses is going to step up and stop the other side.
Yeah.
With that being said, I could be wrong, and it could be a touchdown the other way to Tennessee. But this game, it's two teams that are going to run the same game plan. Game managing quarterbacks, don't turn the ball over, run the ball down their throat as best we can, and whoever is more efficient is going to win this football game. To my gut, bro, I looked at this game, I saw 6.5, and the only thing came out of my brain was Cleveland's going to win this game outright.
Yeah, I like the under a lot in this game, man. I really do. And by the way, the difference when I watch Nick Chubb, man, we if you haven't watched Nick Chubb, give him a look. There isn't a huge gap between him and Henry. The only gap there is size. His lateral movement, his burst of speed. He's missed 5 games this year. He still has 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. 6 yards an attempt, 102 yards per game. He would probably be the league's leading rusher with Kareem Hunt taking carries from him. He's an animal.
Yeah, he's good, dude. No doubt.
I'm with you, Aaron. I love the under on this because even if they score at will, it's going to be through the run game.
Yeah, right.
They're just not going to have enough time to get to 53.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, Ryan Tannehill is not an effective quarterback unless the play action is working. And the only way that works is if they stick to the run. And it's not that Derrick Henry that you can stop. You can't stop him. Is Tennessee going to get away from the run early? If you slow him down early and Tennessee quits running the ball, Tannehill cannot win this game. Can't. It's impossible. All right.
It's impossible.
It is. It's impossible.
New York Giants, Seattle Seahawks.
This was the hardest game of the week for me because I am high on the Giants. I do think that they're a good team. However, what I saw out of Seattle last week, I hate this Eagles team. What I saw out of Seattle last week showed me that Russell Wilson, even on an off week, is going to find a way to win the game. The points are what worried me because we saw, and I don't know what it was, 90% of the money or something was on Seattle last week, and 90% of the money went straight to Vegas because Doug Peterson's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
So the points scare me. However, here's what I look at. Daniel Jones is out. They're not going to be able to score. I know that Seattle's defense is bad, but you don't have Saquon Barkley. You don't have any type of skill positions on the other side. Mm. I don't think this is a way under game. Way under game. This is a 24-6 victory for the Seahawks. They're going to cover the spread handily. Russell Wilson's going to take care of the ball. He's going to score what he has to and no more. And I don't think that the Giants have anything left to even in a historically bad defense. I don't think they have anything left to be able to take advantage of them. It's that easy to me. Seattle minus 10.5 under.
Yeah, the spread scared me because I am high on the coaching and what's going on with the Giants team right now and the defense. But for me, no Daniel Jones. It's Colt McCoy, I believe. It's kind of he's not going to be able to move the football, man. He's never had a game where he's gone out and like torched any defense or really even been.
He did torch the Cowboys a couple years ago.
He did. I do remember that.
And the Cowboys were good. The Cowboys, I think, won a playoff game that year.
And that was in Washington, right?
In Washington, yeah.
So, this was tricky to me too, just because Seattle, and we're talking about Colt McCoy in one game. I don't know where we're going. Seattle hasn't beat any team by more than 10 points since week 1, and that was against the Falcons. But they've also played what I would look at now, and I didn't know at the beginning of the year, was like a tough schedule. They're going to get a lot of opportunities to score because the Giants just aren't going to be able to move the football. The Giants barely beat the Bengals last week without their quarterback. Bad defense, bad offensive line, and barely pulled that game out with their quarterback situation. And the Seahawks have had one of the toughest schedules this year. They haven't played any of the Kansas Cities or the Pittsburghs, but it's like, Falcons at the beginning of the year, they were just getting leads and then blowing on. The Patriots are well coached, the Cowboys with Dak, and then the Dolphins, Vikings, Cardinals, Niners, Bills, Rams, Cardinals, Eagles. I mean, Seattle's had a decent schedule. So I think Russ is going to do enough to cover this line. I think the Giants are going to score more than 10 or 13 points, and Seattle's going to be able to score, like you said, somewhere between 24 and 30. I like them to barely cover this spread, maybe somewhere between 11 and 14 points. I don't think they're going to absolutely blow them out, but I can't bet the Giants unless they have.
And no scoring, bro. I'm sorry. Even if you win 24-3, that's a blowout. That's not a fucking blowout. 24 points is not a blowout. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like Seattle in this game, but this was a tough one to call because the Giants' defense has played pretty well.
Yeah.
The Colt McCoy was born to be a backup quarterback. He loves this shit. I tell you what, he will cover the spread.
You think
I'm saying it right now. Absolutely. He's good for one game.
Jeff was 0 for 3 last week. Let's see if he can
not this time. I can't pick them. I want to pick them to win so bad, but I can't bring myself to do it. Colt McCoy loves coming in and winning a game that he's not supposed to. I was just, as you guys were talking, I remember it was back when RG3, Kirk Cousins, and Colt McCoy were both on the team, and Jay Gruden was just rifling through all of them. All of them got a shot. And Colt McCoy came in. He put up 42 against the Cowboys.
Never did it again.
No, he got hurt the next week. He hurt his neck.
Never did it again.
Back to RG3. But then when Alex Smith got hurt, he came in and he sparked an offense. And they were on their way to the playoffs that year. They were on their way to winning that division that year. He came in, sparked the offense, but in a quarter and a half later, he also broke his leg in the same game, if you remember correctly. So he's either going to get hurt or he's going to cover the spread. That's the only two options that can happen this week.
Look, on to the next bet right there at the edge. Like that, he's going to get hurt or cover the spread.
If there was a bet on him getting hurt, I would bet on that.
I like this one, Aaron. Let's hear this argument.
Yeah, so
on to the Rams and Cardinals.
The Cardinals, again, they've just disappointed me this year. Their record should be worse than what it is. They've come with a couple last-minute wins. The Cardinals, here's the thing. We've watched Jared Goff when he has pressure on him, and we've watched Jared Goff when he doesn't. The Cardinals have no pass rush. Goff's going to sit in the pocket all day. And McVay, in his career with the Rams so far, is undefeated against the Cardinals to this point. Murray hasn't taken the step up that we thought he was going to take, but you add DeAndre Hopkins into the mix, and now McVay's got something else to game plan for. He knows this team really well. They haven't beaten him yet. I think at this point, the way I've watched the Cardinals, they're still a year away from exceeding what my expectations are, or meeting what my expectations are of them. It was, when I looked at this line initially, I was like, ooh, I'm getting two evenly matched teams, and I like Kyler Murray more than Goff and the points, but McVay has just been a better coach against this team throughout his career, and the matchup is just not good for them because they don't have a pass rush. And the Jalen Ramsey is going to be matching up with DeAndre Hopkins, and I saw what Ramsey did to Metcalf a couple weeks ago. And Hopkins is a different type of receiver, obviously, but Ramsey's a very good cornerback. So I got to take the Rams by a field goal in this game. And I like the over as well.
I was going to be so short and sweet, and then you compared DK Metcalf to DeAndre fucking Hopkins. DK Metcalf is a very good wide receiver right now, no question. One of the best in the league right now.
Yeah.
You don't have
I'm not comparing career.
You don't have the fucking clout to put yourself in the sentence as fucking DeAndre Hopkins. Anyway, Seattle wins this game, Seattle, Jesus Christ. DK
I know
Metcalf.
they do.
Thanks.
Seattle.
Arizona wins this game by 10 points. It's going over easy. That's all I've got.
10.
Yeah, you got to explain. You can't just say 10 and we move on. You got to tell me why.
Here's the clip next week.
Kyler Murray is going to have 90-plus rushing yards and at least one rushing touchdown. That pass rush is going to try to get him, and DeAndre Hopkins is going to catch everything that comes near him. And
I believe, double coverage with Ramsey.
I believe. What do you need double coverage for? Jalen Ramsey is such a good fucking cornerback.
Yes,
I believe that the Rams are not nearly as good as they've been rated for the last 3 years. They don't show it. Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year, no question. Jalen Ramsey, very, very good cornerback. But what does this team do under this coach? They underachieve. This is an easy win.
He's undefeated against the Cardinals. They haven't beat him yet.
This is supposed to be an easy win for the Rams, and I don't think it's going to happen that way.
I don't think anybody thinks it's going to be an easy win.
I think Kyler Murray comes out and shows everybody, like us, who believe that he's a year away, maybe he could capture lightning in a bottle now. That's it. That's all I got. Next game.
I think I'm going to just clip this up, get ready for next week today.
Get it done.
I'll even upload it.
By 10. Cardinals win by 10. Clip it. Here we are.
That's insane. Here we go. In a game that wouldn't be put on above.
How in the I can't wait to hear you talk. What the fuck just happened to me? I'm going to be short and sweet. Chicago's a significantly better football team. Not even close. Detroit, by talent, might be close to as bad as the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm.
How in the fuck do you pick the – oh, my God. And it's 3. You're not getting 7. I would get that. Chicago's not crushing anybody. I'd take 7 points and just throw a flyer out there. You don't – 3 points. Holy fucking shit. Chicago wins by more than 3, without a doubt in my mind. Chicago -3 in the under. Please explain what the fuck we're all looking at, Aaron.
All right, so this is I wouldn't call it a trap game for the Bears because they can't move the football regardless. It doesn't really matter who they play. They look like the Eagles on offense right now. I know Galladay and Swift are actually both out, but the Lions just fired.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry, I just got to say this. You started your point by talking about how all of their skill position players are out.
Yeah.
And then said a but, and they're going to follow it up with how they're going to win. That's just beautiful.
Yeah, I actually explained my pick unlike other guys on this podcast. So Matt Patricia got fired last week, and if you don't think that the Lions are extremely happy, excited, and a little bit unified because that fucking mess of a coach is gone, I think he got another thing coming. I don't think he ever had the locker room. The Bears can't move the football. It's going to be an ugly game. People are going to be watching this game. No team's going to be able to move it. The Lions are out their talent guy. The Bears are the fucking Bears with whoever it is they want to put at the fucking quarterback position. I wouldn't be surprised if this game was 10-7. It's a December game in Chicago. It's probably going to be fucking freezing. I haven't checked the temperature, but I should. I hate this game, but I will take the better QB with the points. And that's really all it comes down to. The Bears, to me, are not like significantly better than the fucking Detroit Lions are. The Lions are just a bad franchise, bad team. But Matt Patricia never fucking ever had this team. And if you think Mitch Trubisky is going to go out and all of a sudden score 20, 24, 30 points, I think you got another thing
coming. Break the rules. Bring me back. I gotta look at myself.
I like Stafford.
Well, I want
Bears.
Yeah,
I like Stafford, and I like the over or the under. I'll go with the under in this game.
You just said 10-7. How could you go over?
That?
You just said it could be 10-7. How could you go over?
I just said I messed up. Under.
I want to ask you, Justin. Did you watch Mitchell Trubisky try to throw a football?
Yes, I did.
Last week?
He's so bad. He's so bad.
It's going to be 17-10.
But no, hold on, everybody. Fucking wait. This is the Detroit Lions. This is such. I don't disagree, Aaron. The Matt Patricia probably never had this locker room. He was a bad head coach. Their GM was just as bad. That's why he got fired. I agree 1,000%. But this is the fucking Detroit Lions. This isn't a 7-point spread, a 10-point spread, where you give me reason. The Chicago defense compared to the Detroit defense, who is significantly better?
We know the answer to that. That wasn't in my explanation. That's why I didn't include it.
You omitted that from your explanation. That no matter how much better Matt Stafford is than Mitchell Trubisky,
the Bears can't fucking score.
And the Detroit Lions can't move the ball against a good defense like the Bears.
Yeah, but when you constantly
when you
leave
have
your
Matt
defense,
Stafford, bro. When you have Matt Stafford, you always have a chance to put up points.
No. I will clip this one.
So clip this as well.
This one. I want you two motherfuckers on my screen next week. I want to see you two telling me that there's no way Mitchell Trubisky is going to beat Matt Stafford like he's fucking Aaron Rodgers. Matt Stafford, who's never won anything. That's anything. With a miserable shit of a team.
That's not what we're saying. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that Mitchell Trubisky can't win a game.
Yes, he can.
It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with him
being. Will win this game.
You also have to remember, dude. It's December in Chicago. So
yes, this is where they play. They're home. I know that. So do they.
Right. So you think Mitch Trubisky is just going to how many points do you think the Bears are going to score to be able to cover a 3-point line?
17-24.
So you 17-20. You think the Bears are going to score 24 points?
Okay, so one more time. Are you ready? Are you listening? Open your ears. 17-24. So
that's why I just asked you. I think they can score 17. You think they can score up to 24 points?
Sure, I think they could. Detroit is a miserable, shitty team.
So is Chicago.
No doubt, but one is better. This is like
if you can't,
the New York Jets, Aaron, are we having this conversation? Is Chicago and Mitchell Trubisky going to be talked about like they're the New York Jets? No,
yes.
It's Matt fucking
on the offensive side of the football. Yeah.
Oh my God, Jeff, move on.
When you constantly leave your defense in terrible situations, eventually they will break. It doesn't matter how good the defense is or great.
It's the Lions. It's the Lions. It's the Lions. It's the Lions. It's the fucking Lions.
And they win games that they're not supposed to all the time. Every year they do.
Not this week, guys. Not this week. I hear you.
This is the week to do it with Matt Patricia getting fired.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, Aaron. I'm 100% with you.
Next game. So I'm gonna pick like Aaron picks, and I hate this game. You talk about how you hate it.
No, I hate it too.
I hate this game. You want to talk about a trap? I feel like I'm gonna lose this game. I want everybody to know this. I think my pick could be wrong and probably is because Deshaun Watson is playing much better since Bill O'Brien got fired. Houston looks like they're kind of coming together. They have a little bit of cohesion. The Colts are just too good on both sides of the ball for me. They're, in my opinion, they're a top 10 defense and they're a top 15 offense. I know Phillip Rivers looked horrible last week. He looked like his arm was dead. He had nothing left. But this is the Houston Texans who also have nothing. Will Fuller's out. They just cut Kenny Stills. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is gone. Duke Johnson is not beating anybody. They don't have enough skill, in my opinion, and I think the line is low. I think this is probably a 7-point victory for the Colts, and I'm going to go under.
So, yeah, the Colts so, by the way, and I said this last week, if you didn't know what Houston's record was and you just watched Houston play, Deshaun Watson, if this team was close, like at 500 or over, he would be in the MVP conversation. The dude's having a pretty incredible season. The Colts have one of the best passing defenses in the NFL. They're ranked in top 10 in just about everything. Like you said, Justin, Watson's best receiver is out for the year. Will Fuller's accounted for a lot of his yards. Houston, outside of really J.J. Watt, doesn't have a good rushing attack. These are two QBs basically throwing the football around this game. Neither of them have a good rushing attack. I'm going to take the better all-around football team, not the better quarterback, because obviously I think Deshaun's a better quarterback than Phillip Rivers is. Houston gives up, on average, a passer rating of 105 to opposing QBs this year.
So even if you get 99, Phillip Rivers looks phenomenal.
and when Phillip Rivers is over 90, the Colts have won every game where he's over 90. So the Texans are just not going to be able to do much defensively. And again, the Colts, they're one of those teams that at any given point I think could start making a push. They're very well coached. I like this game, but I didn't love it picking it because the line made it look like a trap. This looks like it should be a 6-point, 7.5-point line, and it's a 3.5-point line. So I don't know if I'm missing something, but I also do like the over in this game.
I love the under in this game. A lot of unders last week too, but I think this is perfect to go under. Stay. Don't bet on this game.
Yeah, basically. That's what all of us are saying.
Just don't.
Our pick's probably wrong. Don't listen.
Yeah, I'm not going to win you any money, but I'm going to save you money. Don't bet on this game. Bengals Dolphins.
You just hate the fucking Dolphins, man.
No, I said something earlier that I'm going to tie into this. Go ahead.
So the Dolphins beat the Jets with Fitzpatrick last week by about 17, and at this point, the only difference between the Bengals and the Jets now that Burrow's out is their wide receivers, like their skill position guys. I like them to win by 10.5.
One's a good team and one's a bad team. Is that it?
The Bengals are horrible without Burrow. They drafted Burrow to make them a 4 or 5 win football team at this point because they don't have talent. They don't have defense. They don't have an offensive line. You drafted Joe Burrow to win you 4 or 5 games this year and then hopefully win 6 or 7 next year when you start to shape up the line and the defense. The Dolphins are also, again, they have much more to play for. They are competing against Buffalo. They need this game. They're going to come out hot. Fitzpatrick's second start in a row. I don't like when Tua's in 1 week and obviously Fitzpatrick's in next week. It doesn't give a quarterback any consistent reps, but he's had these reps now for a couple weeks. So I like him to come out, and I actually like the over because I think that Fitzpatrick's going to put up a lot of points against this defense. I think Miami could put up 30 points by themselves today, and this game is in Miami. Probably going to be warm weather, air out the football a little bit. I like Miami by 14 to 17 points, maybe more. It could be a 20, 24-point game. Really, I mean, the Bengals are going to be that bad for the rest of the year. You see this guy, Jeff?
You were spot on. I agreed with everything you said until you said the Dolphins are going to win by 24 against everybody but the Jets. Right, what did I say earlier when we were talking about the Bills? Do you remember? If the Miami Dolphins don't beat the Bengals by 10 or more, there's no doubt in my mind that this is the Bills division. No doubt. So here's why I picked it the way I did. First of all, I'm going to take my half-point squeaker because I think it's a 10-point game, actually. Okay. I don't disagree with you that Miami is a much better team when there's no Joe Burrow on the other side of the field, but this isn't the fucking New York Jets, bro. The New York Jets are completely devoid of talent. There's not an entire void of talent for the Cincinnati Bengals. There just isn't. I like this game to be 7 to 10 points. This, to me, was the trap game of the week. I'm looking at a 10.5-point spread with a 42.5-point over-under. I don't like the Dolphins like you do. I know that you've had the hardest pick in the world.
I hate the Bengals.
No, hold up. Wait a minute. We're not rewriting history here, Ron. Your dick's been hard for the Dolphins since week 2.
I think they're going to win the division still.
You love the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I do.
I don't like the Miami Dolphins to beat anybody but the New York Jets by 10 or more. Number one, I don't see any part of this offense scoring 30 points. Number two. So when I look at 42.5, I see 24 to 17, 28 to 17, and I lose by a point. I don't see this blowout that you see. It just doesn't exist for me. Now, I will make this precursor here. I will say this for future weeks, just like I did about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers that you disagreed with. If the Miami Dolphins win this game by 14, if the Miami Dolphins win this game by 14 points, I will commit to going back all the way to week 1 and watching every single highlight film of each week to see what I'm not seeing in these Dolphins, because I don't see what you see.
Well, they're well coached.
I think this is a 7 to 10 point win. No chance the Bengals win. No chance the Bengals win. This is a 7 to 10 point game. I'm going to take the over because I think it's low.
Okay.
Would you guys say the Giants and the Dolphins have similar defenses?
Yes.
Yeah. They're just they don't have a shit ton of talent. They got a couple pieces at corner. They got a guy on the defensive line and a linebacker, but they're just very well coached on defense. And Joe Judge is doing the same thing in New York.
Well, the Bengals put up 17 points on the Giants last week. If they put up 17 points on the Dolphins, there's no way that this could.
Well, the Giants also, but the Giants can't move the football, so they got a lot of opportunities to put up those 17 points.
Who's
love the Dolphins?
Yeah.
I got to go with Justin on this one.
You fucking love the Dolphins, bro.
I do.
Hey, do you have an undershirt on of the Miami Dolphins right now?
Yeah, it's called These Fucking Nuts.
That's about how bad they are. Is as bad as your nuts. Next game.
He's got Miami Dolphins socks on.
Of course he does, and he's got a fucking.
I got Miami
tattoo.
Dolphins.
He got a Tua tattoo. His face.
I got Miami Dolphins Gucci condoms.
Motherfucker, you got Tua's face tattooed on your chest. Give me a break. This game was easy for me. The Jacksonville Jaguars are dumpster fire. There's no way in hell unless Kirk Cousins loses everything all at the same time. Unless Dalvin Cook tears an ACL, Kirk Cousins breaks his leg, and half the defense falls apart. There's no way this isn't a 14-point game. I don't got a lot more to add other than that. 51's a lot, and I know that Minnesota scores. So I'm just to hedge my bets on all the unders I took this week. I'm going to go over, thinking that maybe you get 14 to 17 points because of trash time with the Jaguars. But I don't think Minnesota struggles to put up 35 points on this team. They're definitely going to cover 10.5. The Jaguars are the second worst team in the league next to the Jets, and Minnesota is starting to catch fire. It was that easy for me.
Yeah. 35 to 10, something like that. Minnesota's been playing well. They could hand the ball off 40 times this game and just let Dalvin Cook run it, and they're still going to win by 10.5 points. I don't have much more to say about it.
I think
we know Jeff wants them to lose because of Kirk Cousins.
Right, because of Kirk Cousins' face specifically. I can't believe that you're both on the Raiders after the debacle that they put up last week.
Well, John, listen.
It's the New York Jets. I mean, can I not?
If you don't think John Gruden this week has been putting his foot up everyone's ass in that fucking locker room because of that miserable performance, which I'm sure 95% of bettors took that game. That's where I lost my fucking parlay last week. And when I talked to everybody else, that's where they lost their fucking parlays last week. Fucking Raiders. So they got embarrassed. Gruden's pissed. Josh Jacobs is out, but I still lay the points. The Jets can take the fucking 8. They're just, again, the Jets for the rest of the year, guys, are not going to come close to winning a football game because the Jags are right on their tail for that number 1 pick. And if you think that a game against someone like the Raiders in week 13 is going to make them lose out on Trevor Lawrence, you're out of your fucking mind. If Gase loses these games, he's going to keep his job. If Adam Gase wins any of these games, he's getting fired immediately.
So I don't disagree with much of what you said there, except for I do want to go on record. What is today? Today's December the what?
6th or 7th.
December 7th, 2020.
6th.
Justin Fields is a significantly better quarterback than Trevor Lawrence.
I don't disagree. I said this earlier in the year.
It isn't close. Trevor Lawrence is a
God.
repeat of Sam Darnold.
It's close.
It's not even close.
No, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a great quarterback.
So is Tua Tagovailoa, isn't he? We'll see about that one.
Yeah,
Trevor Lawrence will be a repeat of Sam Darnold if the Jets win him, and I hope that they make that decision again so I get to watch another 0-16 or 1-15 team. Everything Aaron said. John Gruden's not going into another week and not showing out against this fucking team. The Jets are going to score 3 points. The Raiders are going to score at least 24 points.
24.
No doubt in my fucking mind. This is an easy one. Lock it in the bank. No doubt.
just like yourselves, the Raiders ruined my parlay. I'll never forgive them.
Yeah.
The Jets, my cousin's a Jets fan, and in his
I'm
words,
sorry for your cousin.
the Jets can't even lose correctly. Jets win this game outright. I'm saying it. They're going to win a game. They're going to win a game this year.
If they win a game, they're doing themselves a fucking disservice, man.
Of course they are, but they're the New York Jets. They can't even lose correctly.
We'll see, man. I mean,
they're going to ruin it.
Do you know how embarrassed John Gruden's going to be if they're the fucking first team to lose to the Jets? That guy's fucking personality, man. Holy shit. Oh,
yeah,
by
I
the
agree.
way, one more point about Washington I completely forgot, and one of the other reasons I like them. The Steelers just fucking played the other day, and they got to play again today.
We agree. We agree. Move
put that out there.
on. Move on.
All right.
What do you got next? That's it for the
That's
game.
it. Let's do our quick break. We'll
Eagles
come back and then talk about this fucking dumpster fire of an Eagles team.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, y'all. Let's take a break.
All right.
Oh, let's get to this fucking awful, terrible, shitty, exhausted Eagles team.
My screen's blinking.
Oh, you look fine here. Yeah, you look fine here.
All right, cool.
All right. So, first of all, Eagles fans, there's no chance they win this game. And you better hope with all of your fucking might that they lose it. Because the 6th overall draft pick in this year's draft is way more important than any fucking pride that you want out of Doug Peterson or out of Carson Wentz. I don't give a shit. It has nothing to do with Jalen Hurts. It has nothing to do with Miles Sanders getting more time. You need to lose because of how many fucking holes are on this shitty team. That's it. It's that simple. The reason why you picked the Eagles this week is because Aaron Rodgers has not blown out anybody he should this year. Not one single team, not 1 week, no matter how many fucking times I picked him, he doesn't blow teams out. He just doesn't do it. The Eagles are always going to play up when they're playing a better team. There's no doubt in my mind. This is a 5 to 7 point game at its biggest. Everybody knows what happened last week. How did that 6-point spread go for most bettors last week? Because Doug Peterson is a fucking douchebag and went for 2 when it didn't matter and spoiled out millions of dollars that were bet against them. I think that this is probably a 3 to 6 point win for Green Bay. I don't think it's in doubt at all. I hope it's not. We have Jack Driscoll is starting on the line now, but we still have fucking Jason Peters taking up a spot. Herbig is still on the bench. Opua is on the bench. This team just can't fucking figure it out, dude. They're trying to plug in offensive linemen like that's the problem. We're on our 12th starting offensive lineman this season, which is atrocious. We haven't used Miles Sanders right. They activated Jordan Howard for some reason I can't fucking figure out because their running game has not been a problem. Their usage of their running game has been a problem. Miles Sanders is 3rd in the league in yards per carry. I know he's got a bunch of chunk plays that make that number go up, but he is. And you use him 29th in the league and 31st in efficiency. This is not a personnel problem. This is a coaching problem. Doug Peterson is shit. He's never going to not be shit. Ever since he lost Frank Reich and John DeFilippo, this team has consistently gone down. And it's going to continue until they hit the bottom and Jeff Lurie finally blows this motherfucker out. This game is not winnable, but it's coverable. That's it.
So, just we talked about Green Bay a couple weeks ago, and I mentioned when they play, teams that are good on the one part of their line or both parts of their line, they kind of get kicked in the mouth. And I don't think they're going to get kicked in the mouth enough to lose this football game, obviously. But that defensive line is going to create some problems, and they're going to keep the game close. The defense is confident after playing Seattle last week, seeing what they did against Russell Wilson. The makeup of both of those teams are similar. I think Seattle actually has, aside from Devontae Adams, a little bit more skill on the offensive side of the football, with Lockett.
Who's next to Devontae Adams in Green Bay? You know what I mean? Like, you got Tyler Lockett.
They use their tight end a lot, and they get a little bit out of Aaron Jones in the passing game, but they don't really have like a pure run game. They have a kind of like a scat back there. I don't think the Packers can run up the score on the Eagles the way a lot of people, I think they're going to if Wentz can just limit the turnovers. Jordan Howard got signed again. He's going to take touches away from Miles Sanders. It's going to piss me off, but it seems like the game plan for this week is going to be to run the football. And one of the reasons they brought up Howard is, because typically whatever team he's on, he averages 4 to 5 yards per carry. He's not a 3.5 yard per carry guy. They're going to try to keep the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands. That's the only way. Obviously, they feel like they have a shot to win the football game. So I think they are actually going to run the football, which I thought they would have to keep that out of Russ' hands, but he wasn't really doing much with the football last week, and the defensive line was playing well. Aaron Rodgers, by the way, shredded the Bears defense last week for 4 touchdowns, but I don't take much from division games because they know each other very well, and he's been shredding the Bears his entire career. The matchup today is Darius Slay versus Devontae Adams. That's the biggest matchup.
I don't know that we know Darius Slay's playing, bro. He's got that calf injury. I don't know if he's in or not.
I think he's playing. He was questionable. I don't think he's not going to.
Jeff, can you find out if he's on the injury report for us?
Yep.
If he's not, that's going to be a problem. But the matchup, if he plays, is Slay versus Adams. Adams is first in the NFL in receiving yards per game. He's averaging 100 yards per game, on 9 targets. I actually thought, and I don't know what you think about this, Josh, I actually didn't think Darius Slay played a bad game against DK. DK just ended up getting 2 50-50 balls from him, and there was like a deep ball. It was his worst game as an Eagle. But when we talk about bad corner play, Josh, we think of like the Jalen Mill and the Ronald Darby.
Yeah, but you can't adjust what bad and good is just because we know worse.
But when you watch the game, DK,
10 receptions, 178 yards. That's all I need to say in that game.
Darius Slay is questionable.
He's going to play. The Eagles are allowing 210 passing yards per game, which is 8th in the NFL. They haven't been horrible. They're 2nd in the NFL in sacks and QB hits. But the Aaron Rodgers' ability to dictate the pocket, if his offensive line has been good. He's only been sacked 12 times, which just is fucking incredible considering that Carson Wentz is taking close to 50. Aaron Rodgers has been sacked 12 times because what does he do? He dictates the pocket and he gets rid of the football when he doesn't have it.
True.
Green Bay is also moving the chains on 3rd down. They're converting 48.5% of their 3rd down conversions. The Eagles are the 5th best in the league at stopping on their third down defense. And our passing offense at this point is comparable to the Bears. And obviously the Packers, again, whooped the Bears last week. But again, I don't take much from a division game versus other opponents. We didn't think we were going to go into Green Bay and win last year, and we did. This team's not going to win, but I think the defense is playing well enough to keep this within a 9-point game after what I watched in a 6-point win in Seattle, which should have been 11, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're just a terrible fucking team, man. I mean, again, and for all Eagles fans out there that are hoping that they even compete, tell me why. I mean, this is the same thing that we just talked about with the Jets and not wanting to win a game this year because Jacksonville's so close to get the guy you want. Why? Show me why. If you get the 6th overall draft pick, you have a reasonable shot without having to trade another asset of getting the best linebacker prospect to come out of college since Ray fucking Lewis. This is what's on the line this year. If they make the playoffs at fucking 6-9-1 or whatever the fuck the record turns out to be, and we get a home playoff game, is that helping you better than a cornerstone on your defense? Of course it's not. There's still $60 million over the cap next year. You still have a quarterback that looks like he forgot how to play football. You still have a head coach that doesn't know how to use a running back. It's averaging 5.6 yards a carry. Your problems don't change. You need talent. Your talent right now is Miles Sanders misused. You don't have a receiver with talent at all. I know that we hope it's Rager, but so far it's not. The defensive side of the ball. Fletcher Cox is old and run down. Brandon Graham is having another good year, which he gives you. But Darius Slay, and then what else? You don't have any fucking linebackers. You have no defensive backs to play along with your fucking $60 million corner that you got. You need talent. You need more talent on this team. And there's 2 ways to get it. Go pay for it. We can't. We're strapped. Go draft it. Go get the pick. Stop talking about what we're going to look like this year. Does anybody want Doug Peterson back? Even those that defend him?
And just this is going to be a shit show if they end up winning this game for some reason. It's not going to be good for several reasons, and one of them is Washington has a tough schedule going into the end of the year. So if we start winning 1 or 2 games accidentally, Washington still has to play right now this week the Steelers, the Niners, the Seahawks, the Panthers, and then the Eagles again. So they're going to lose a couple of those games. The Giants are without Daniel Jones. You don't want the Eagles to win any of these football games because it gives them a chance to get into the playoffs, and we lose 10 spots in the draft by making the playoffs. So it's not if Carson Wentz, the only way it's acceptable to win football games at the end of this year is if for whatever reason Carson Wentz something fucking clicks in his head and for the next 5 games he throws fucking 4 touchdown passes and 300 yards per game every single game, and you're like, all right, Carson Wentz is back. This team is fixable now. We can salvage some shit. Outside of that, nothing. I don't want anything.
No, hold on a second. But is that even? Do you think if Carson Wentz, let's say Carson Wentz comes out against Green Bay and has 460 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, no fumbles, right? He has a 2017 Carson game. Do you feel confident?
No, I gotta see it for the rest of the year. I don't care about what
dude. Honestly, I could see it happen from now until the next 5 games. I don't trust him. It's gone. He's lost it. You don't get to give me 13 games 3 years ago. Yeah,
I can't take what I've seen from a career and then take what I've seen this season. But for me, I don't think he can bounce back from this simply because if you're that good of a quarterback with that much talent, regardless of the coaches around you, you don't miss receivers by that much. You're not pushing off your leg the right way. You're missing wide open guys. You're missing reads. So it almost looks unsalvageable to me unless he moves on and gets some other voices in his ear. Like he needs someone else in his ear designing plays for him because whatever they have going on with Peterson and Prez is out the window.
Yeah, and the big part of what really pisses me off about Carson Wentz is a fucking player that I can't stand. Aaron Rodgers, who is a first ballot Hall of Famer. There is no question. There's no argument. There's no, he could have done. Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the top 5 quarterbacks of his era. That's who Aaron Rodgers is. What did Green Bay do this year? They didn't take a quarterback in the 2nd round. They drafted Jordan Love in the 1st round. You needed receivers. You needed offensive line. You needed defensive help. What did the front office of the Packers do? They took insurance. Aaron Rodgers is 36. Who knows how much longer he's got?
That's exactly why you don't take a quarterback, because you
Hold
only
on.
have a couple years.
Pump the brakes and hear this out. Aaron Rodgers, who is a great quarterback, has every fucking reason to get pissed off at that front office and say, how dare you? I have game I've shown you. You give me Devontae Adams and nothing else for me to work with. You know what we need. You saw what was there, and you decided instead of making my roster better to prepare for when I'm gone. Aaron Rodgers has that in his pocket. He could feel that way. But what did Aaron Rodgers do? You know what I don't hear about Aaron Rodgers? I don't hear about Aaron Rodgers' mentality lacking. I don't hear about his confidence coming down because they drafted a quarterback. But all fucking week, every single day in my hour and 20-minute ride to and from work, I put on sports radio in Philadelphia, and I have to hear these fucking boobs. Well, Carson, his confidence is hurt because they drafted Jalen Hurts. Shut the fuck up. Be a professional. You got a $34 million a year contract. You don't get that, pal. You're not fucking RG3. You're not Lamar Jackson, who caught wind and became this thing. You showed us last year you could play. Because they drafted a guy, since you can't make it through a fucking season, now all of a sudden I have to accept, I shelled up and my confidence is affected. I don't feel confident making the throws. Fuck you, you have a $126 million contract. I don't get that at my job. I don't make $35 million a year. If I hire a guy that looks as good as me, I gotta be better. Show the fuck up or shut the fuck up and ship out. I'm done with them, bro. I'm done with Carson Wentz.
So based on what we saw last season with the reports of Hurts coming into the game for more plays, which obviously didn't, I don't see any way that for the rest of the year they're not putting it all on Wentz to finish out the season. I don't see Hurts getting any reps after.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
You can't admit that fault. If you put Jalen Hurts in, and God forbid, even if you don't win, God forbid he has a higher than 54% completion percentage or a higher than 74 quarterback rating. God forbid any of that happens. You have a real controversy. Right now, we have the idea of a controversy. If Jalen Hurts plays, you've got a controversy.
This is my issue with controversy. They're looking at the negative sides of Jalen Hurts doing well and Jalen Hurts doing bad, which looks bad for both of them. But if you don't think for a second there's teams that would give us picks and a player for Carson Wentz, even if he gets benched for the rest of the year. Frank Reich would do it. You think Kyle Shanahan's not sitting over with the 49ers watching Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins play, wishing he had someone like fucking Carson Wentz? The Bears. I mean, there's teams out there that would give their left nut just because of what they've seen over the last 4 years, not because of what he's doing this year, but just based on what they've seen. He would be a perfect fit when Phillip Rivers leaves in Indy next year. I mean, there's tons of fits for Wentz. You have to at some point when you're out of, I know they feel like they're in the division race and they want to win the playoffs. They're not. I haven't seen anything to make me think like they're going to be able to. What needs to happen is, especially for the Eagles fans, hope that they lose the next 2 games. Hope that Washington wins the next 2 games and basically clinches a playoff spot at that point. And then hopefully they can just give Jalen Hurts an opportunity to play some football for a couple weeks so they know what they have on the roster going into the offseason. You can't not play Jalen Hurts and then evaluate what you're going to do in free agency and the draft, especially with your cap situation. You have to play the guys you drafted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Kavon Wallace has not been on the field. Davian Taylor's not been on the field. Jack Driscoll, for whatever reason, hasn't.
And let's real quick while you're on that vein, right? So we've got Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, 1 and 2. We agree. After that, it's a crapshoot. So if you're talking about BYU, if you're talking about being 6th in the draft order, 3, 4, and 5 could need a quarterback, and you might be able to give 6 to get to 3 with Carson Wentz to draft a better guy. You might be able to get Justin Fields. There's things you can do, and you don't know if you need it unless you play the guy. You don't know what Davion Taylor's
to play Hurts. You have to.
You don't know what Davion Taylor's going to be. You don't know what Kavon Wallace is going to be. And again, I said this on Twitter the other day. You take over Chin. You take Hurts. What did Chin do last week? 2 defensive touchdowns, fumble recoveries for touchdowns. You have
He's going to be the defensive rookie of the year.
Brandon Ayuk, who's the kid in Washington? McLaurin, DK Metcalf.
We were high. We were high on T. Higgins too. We loved T. Higgins in the draft.
T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb was not ungettable. There's so many guys with so much potential that this team just doesn't see. This is a Doug problem. Howie building problem. But above that, and most important, there is zero talent evaluation on this team. What person decided that over T. Higgins, that over Denzel Mims, that over all of these other guys this season, that Reagor and Hurts were better? Show it to me. I don't see it.
Well, there was reports coming out, I remember, from the front office that there was internal conflict, and I think I sent you them because everybody on the Eagles front office and talent evaluators wanted Justin Jefferson. Howie wanted Jalen Reagor. Now, we were both higher on Reagor than Jefferson. We were both wrong on that. In the second round, everybody wanted Jeremy Chin. That's who they wanted to draft in the second round. That report came out this week. You drafted a guy that you're playing 2 snaps a game. So how much better could this team be? I don't know how much better they'd be with Justin Jefferson the way the offense is operating right now, but I know on the defensive side of the ball, they sure as hell could use a fucking fire-ass safety that grows into the leader of the fucking defense because they don't even have that at this point.
But they drafted Kevon Wallace to maybe be that guy, and they don't even fucking play him.
I know. And Will Parks just left the other day, and he tweeted out, it's not 2017 anymore, it's 2020. And that just basically says it all. These guys are holding on to old guys with old contracts, not giving the new guys opportunities, not listening to the evaluators, thinking they know everything. And it's time to get over it, guys. It's time to get over it.
I agree, bro.
So that's all we got for you guys today. We will be back on Wednesday with some better records in our amazing 14-game parlay. Jeff will be back with some clips of Justin sounding like an idiot, and we will cover the NBA on Wednesday. Because
I hope the only thing any of us are wrong about are the Dolphins, you arrogant motherfucker.
We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Jeff, thank you. Justin, thank you. And check out Big Facts. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook page. We are on every Sunday and Wednesday at either 10 or 11
autonomous motherfucker thinking he's going to say goodbye for all of us. I want to talk too, Dick. Justin's going to be wrong.
How rude.
Justin's going to be wrong. I already admitted where I was wrong. I got that. I covered that.
You said it before every pick this week.
No, I said it before 2, sir. And the only 2 I wasn't certain about. Again, all I care about is the outcome of the Dolphins game. That's all that matters to Justin this week. So, upset of the week, Aaron thinks that Atlanta is going to beat the Saints outright. I think he's fucking crazy. My upset of the week, which Aaron picked to cover, is Cleveland. I think Cleveland has a real good chance of winning this game outright against Tennessee. We disagreed on a ton this week, but this is it. Like last week, one of us going to be right, one of us going to be wrong. We're going to do an episode on the NBA coming up on Wednesday. Season starting in a couple of weeks. We really want to get in depth with what Doc Rivers has done in Philadelphia. Russell Westbrook on the move. There's a lot of stuff we've got to cover. As always, thanks to Jeff for the graphics and producing. Aaron, we appreciate you, even though you're wrong just as much as Justin. Jeff, any thoughts you want to leave with, bud?
We are not liable for any money you lose this week.
Y'all have a great Sunday. Have a great weekend. I hope everybody wins a bunch of money, and we will see you on Wednesday.
See you guys.